say all the right things.
You guys are good?
All right, fellas, how y'all?
Good. How you doing today, Coach?
Have the coach.
Doing good. Can't complain. Whose knees are those?
That's Justin Zimmerman's fingers.
Looks like
Oh,
his
is that
camera
fingers? It
froze.
looks like knees from here.
He's got his fingers up there. Hey, Dan, I want to ask this first before we get to the basketball itself. With all the buzz and the noise coming out about conference realignment and everything, can we just get your take on this? Because something's going to happen. Of course, it feels like
Well, that's only positive thing for sure.
yeah, something's going to happen here, but we don't know what it's going to be. And you still got to go play basketball. You don't care who they put out in front of you. You got to play somebody. So what's your take on all this?
I think it does make a difference. If I like playing in the ACC is a definite advantage for recruiting. All right, so it does make a difference a little bit as far as recruiting goes. As far as playing, I just feel confident that with the administration we're having or going to have or in the process of having, they'll make the best choice for Marshall. And whatever that is, we'll put a good brand of basketball out there. And hopefully, regardless of where we go, what happens, you'll have a chance at the NCAA. So, that's the goal. We just have to put a good product out there, try to win some ball games. But it does, I think the biggest effect where you go would be travel and then recruiting. It's not going to change the brand of basketball we put out there. It can help or make it a little bit tougher to recruit. If you're not chartering, or if there's a lot of schools in between flying and driving buses, like, everybody talks about Western's close to us. That's one of our hardest trips. It's 4.5, 5 hours on a bus, and you're busing back at night. It's a lot easier to fly to Charlotte, fly back, or because you can fly into Charlotte or fly to Dallas and fly back. As long as you're, if you charter to the schools, it's not bad. But if you're having to long bus rides, a MAC would be tough because there's a lot of 4 or 5 hour bus rides, in there. And those are all part, but it's all doable. Again, you just have to trust I do trust our administration to do what's best for Marshall. And if it's best for Marshall, then I've got to do what it takes to make Marshall basketball as good as it can be. There's a lot of pros and cons with everything, but basically is that I think we got staff here and a good fan base here to get kids here that want to play for Marshall. We'll be fine, whatever happens, whatever goes on.
Coach, I just want to follow up on that question real quick with the conference realignment. You talk about the travel. Would that impact your non-conference scheduling a little bit, depending on what conference you move to or the strength of the conference?
I'm cautious about that. When we do our non-conference, I'm always watching to see the travel. That's one of like this year, we're playing 2 non-D1 schools because we couldn't fit a big school. Penn State might have wanted us to come in and play, but that's in the middle of the week. That's a tough place to get to. And it's not so much playing Penn State at Penn State. It's the travel to and from and the next game you got to play. And not only do you go into a tough game, but now you're tired for your next game and trying to fit everything, all the pieces. There are a lot of, these kids are still college students. They're still going to school. And go in the middle of the week and have to travel 6 hours on a bus, play a game, stay overnight, come back 6 hours next day, play 2 days later. You're going to get your best performance 2 days later. In other words, you get beat by a team might be a little bit better than you are at their place. Then you come home and get beat by somebody who's not as good as you are because you're tired. So it's, you got to look at all that, and it's not so much the first time, it's over a season that you're talking about. And we have a tough conference travel problems anyway. And if you add to that the out of conference schedule, you know, by the time you get to the end of the year, your team might be saying, shit, we're tired, let's quit. You know, I don't know. You know, again, you got to play by ear a little bit, but travel, go look in the NBA odds on Vegas odds. Travel plays a huge part of where they put the odds. And one of the most, I think, bet game is a favored team going back home off of a long road trip, going home the next game they play. And it's just, no matter who it is, it's just a tough game. So you got to watch a little bit of travel, understand these are young kids that go to school, they practice hard, you got to watch your practices. But traveling, well, yeah, just on coaches, it's hard. Even when I was young in the NBA, it was hard. Traveling, just crossing timelines. We crossed 2 in our conference. So, you know, it's something you got to watch for. And so, you know, that's probably wherever we land, that's going to be, you know, probably good or bad, or not, maybe I shouldn't say good or bad. Could be a little better or a little worse, you know, one way or the other. But again, I got confidence that the whole idea for Marshall basketball, soccer, football, baseball, you know, women, just make Marshall better. If you're here to coach for that reason, I think you're for the right reason here. And so I trust the administration that they did the best they could for all of us, and that we got to try to do what's best for Marshall and let it go at that. So that's where I am on all that. Where it's going, I got no clue. Good luck. But I do trust the people that are going to make this decision. I trust them to do the best for Marshall. And in that case, I do what's best, the best I can to be a big part of that. That's it.
Dan, tell us what you're seeing out of Chase. We got the chance to talk to him just a little bit ago. What's he doing on the court? What's he bringing to the team that you see so far?
Well, he's an athlete. He's can play multiple positions, offensively and defensively. He's you know, a little bit light for a big, but he can guard a big for a time being. Not bad. He can stay in front of point guards, and he can guard bigger guys pretty well inside. So defensively brings you a multiple positioned athlete, which is what I like. Offensively, a lot of the same. He can take the ball inside. He can finish against big guys. He can dribble it, and he's quick enough to handle the speed of little guys. And he can handle a little bit on the outside. Probably his weakest thing, we're working on it now. I don't think it's going to stay that way. It's his perimeter shooting. But he's capable from the perimeter. In our system, you say, well, it doesn't work. You guys shoot all these threes. Well, not everybody has to shoot a three. You know, he can go set a pick, and he can be the force going to the rim. If he can put it on the floor, he can be the one running the pick and roll and getting into the lane and making passes out. So there's a lot of ways you can adjust this offense to fit a guy like him who can handle the ball. He's got quick. He does have touch on the inside, and he does have the ability to score on the inside. So, you know, he's, again, a multiple position. He could be a 4, he could be a 5. And we talked about yesterday, let's look at him at a 1, you know. But again, our 1, 2, 3s are all the same anyway. Tavion, is he a 2 or 1? With Andy, is he a 2 or 1? They're all just guards. And that our system is based on being able to play multiple positions. He fits into that. the weakest part of it is the outside perimeter shooting, and we'll just keep working on that. And I'm sure within reasonable amount of time that he'll become effective doing that too. And
Yeah,
a great teammate, and that fits in well with our locker room. Should say that he's a great fit for our locker room and for our players.
Dan, the coaches poll for the conference out yesterday. You guys are picked 4th in the league. Just general thoughts maybe on that and what you expect to see out of Conference USA this season.
Well, to be honest with you, it doesn't mean anything. All that is somebody trying to figure out what hadn't happened yet, and that's neither right nor wrong. We're up here in the top. They expect us to compete for it. I think Blue Ribbon Magazine had us #1 in the East over Western, so that's a different opinion. So opinions are opinions. It really doesn't matter. We'll see. You know, I don't get hyped up on all that stuff. Maybe when I was your age, I did. Now, you know, they respect us. We're within range at the top. There's a lot more looking down than they are looking up. So the dominoes look pretty good going forward, and we just got to make 3 of them fall in front of us. That's all. Tavion on the first team, maybe if I get upset, it'd be in that area. Of course, Tavion belongs on it. I think that's on everybody's consensus. I thought we should have had maybe another one. And I thought Andy Taylor played well enough at the end of the year to be seen as one of the top players. And I think some of the top players are players didn't even play in the conference last year. They're transfers. I think I might be wrong with that, but I'm just guessing if they left Andy off, they probably because I haven't seen the list to look. So I would say they probably put some guys that they think are going to be good in this league. And I don't know how you do that. I wouldn't have put anybody, if I'm picking, I wouldn't put anybody that hadn't played in this league. And I could be wrong. Maybe they all have played, but how would they pick 10?
Ended up being 11.
Huh?
Ended up being 11.
End up 11? Were they all former players from last year?
Yeah.
They don't have any new ones in it? Well, then I think that's an oversight then with Andy.
Is that extra motivation for these guys, or are they pretty much
Yeah, probably for
calm and
them.
cool?
And that probably, well, no, I'm sure it's extra motivation for them. For me, nothing. It means nothing to me. Because I was always overlooked as a player, so I'm used to it. You know, it's no biggie for me. So hopefully Andy will take it as a challenge, but you know, I've found I just think that's all the wrong reasons, trying to be good. You should be trying to be good to make Marshall better. You should be trying to do things, and that should mean a lot to you, that this team be good. And your focus should be on that, not trying to prove that I'm a good player. Your focus should be on let's make Marshall good, and I'm gonna do what it takes. And then wherever I fall individually on that, I've always found better results come from that than the guy out there trying to prove he's the best player in the league. Usually they overplay their positions and are not as good as they would have been if they just stayed in the moment, which is play for your team, play with your teammates.
Hey, Dan, the way that Tavion's kind of handled all the NBA stuff, even from last year to now with the scouts, he just seems to have such a level head about it and the right viewpoint on how to, go about this season, but not get all caught up in the hype. Well,
Tavion is one of the most mature, nicest human beings alive. So I wouldn't expect any different. Again, he's a true, smart, very mature in his thinking. Doesn't ride the elevators up and down. Stays in the moment. And just mom and dad or whoever's responsible did a great job And I'm happy for him, and God, it's been a godsend to coach. So, you know, I just wish him the best. He's one you really cheer for. You want all good things to come for him, and hopefully that'll happen. It looks like so far, everything's on course to, I think, be Marshall's first NBA draft, first round draft pick since Russell Lee, I think. So that's a long time.
You good, guys?
Anything? That it?
All good.
I'm good. If
All
everyone
right,
else is.
fellas, go herd.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Dave.
Dan.